I gaze observe every light and time. She looks and I created patience for something to come. You know I was there, and didn't know what I needed. Did I misunderstand it? So I wish we found out and we took my legs to my feet. How long? How long? How how wrong? Somebody made you feel it was worth it, but all I ever did was strike you down and bring you in and out through hell again. It's a lie. It's saying things you before you break down and fly. Play with your spirit and mind and soul, and leave me alone with all the things I've chased and the river hasn't run. See her come down the cloud, feel like I ain't got nothing left yet, nothing left. So come on, love, enjoy yourself, shoot me to the ground. Cause you are the only one. Cause you are the only one. The only one. The only one. Thank you to AIM Elevate Dance of Antioch for the performance. I now present Eric Reinhardt, Lake County State's Attorney, for our welcoming speech.
Thank you, Viviana. Wow, can we give another round of applause to those amazing dancers? My name is Eric Reinhardt. I'm the Lake County State's Attorney. I'm so honored to be here tonight, to be part of such an important event. The 12th annual Lake County Rising event is one of the most important things that we do every year from our office's perspective. I want to say on behalf of our office and the amazing 155 men and women who work there, that we stand with each and every one of you, each and every one of those that are rising up to speak out against violence against women, to speak out against sexual violence against all people, to speak out against all violence and trauma. The State's Attorney's Office is completely and totally invested in all of you and in this project. I am so proud to work with so many amazing women who are with us today from the Gun Violence Prevention Initiative, or Jennifer Cowdy, who is with our Human Trafficking Task Force, or the amazing leaders that we have who are working on a daily basis in our sex crimes unit and in our domestic violence unit to do everything we can to reach every corner of this county, to reach every part of this community, and to reach every single person we can to say that the violence must stop. My opinion, we are a country boiling in trauma. Maybe that's been true for longer than maybe what the system recognizes. We are a country that has been boiling, in my opinion, in the trauma of racism and classism and sexism and misogyny and homophobia and transphobia and xenophobia. And those things have an impact even in the moment that we are here today. We are at the end, at every moment, we are unfortunately at the end of those terrible forces that I just identified. And the only way forward as a country and as a community is to say that we can and that we must turn back those forces by calling them out, by reaching into their root causes, and by joining together as one community and in one voice to say that we can end the trauma, we can end the toxic masculinity, we can end those forces that do so much damage. And that is the work that each and every one of you are doing by being here tonight, by providing the service and love to the survivors of crime or to those who simply need help. So I want to thank each and every one of you who is here for being here today, for the work that is not always seen, for the work that is happening on an hourly and minute basis in our beloved Lake County and beyond to help people. And the State's Attorney's Office of Lake County will be there every step of the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric, for your words. We move on to our video to hear from Trey Baker of Power of You.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trey Baker, and this poem is called Her Story. If you don't mind, I want to take some time to share her story. Her story begins with the foundations of life. Without her, we are not alive. Teaching us wrong from right, shaping generations of new life. In the darkness of the night, I can hear her voice telling me, baby, it's gonna be all right. Her story is Dr. Angelo daring her to be, running with Ruth Bader Ginsburg to the highest seat. Like Jill Scott on Deaf Poetry, nothing is for nothing, and women are becoming leaders of the free. Her story has history of fighting for equality in the streets, in the boardroom with no apologies, and still taking time to affirm herself. in her sacred quality. You can feel her story in the palm of her daughter. Just by her touch, her spirit gets stronger, and when she looks up to her eyes, her belief in self gets broader. Even better when her other hand is holding the hand of her father. The way she holds it down, when she speaks, the earth listens to her sound. On these grounds, she holds us together. My grandmother told me to never forget to say how much we love her. Her story is a new revolution, one where love is written in the new Constitution, where listening to each other is the solution, where we transform integration into inclusion, one where we protect women's health, empower generational wealth, and bring shame to those that want to shame her for loving herself. Her story is not a journey without pain or unknown, but I can promise her she'll never be alone. As you climb your ladder, write each chapter, see the before and the after. Always remember how much she mattered. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. My name is Jace McGeera. I'm with the LGBTQ Center Lake County, one of the organizations on the planning committee for tonight's event. Every year, as part of Lake County Rising, we invite the youth to raise their voices with us by sharing an essay or poem on our theme, which this year is Empower Her, a mission to end violence against women. Our winning essay exemplifies a call to care, a call to action, and a call to hope. Hope is not a soft, delicate, ephemeral thing. Hope is a fighter with scraped palms and scraped knees who gets back up to try again because she believes that things can get better. Who reaches for the strength of her community, her allies, and the generations before her because together we are stronger. We are not alone. We are here tonight because we have hope, and that hope drives the work that we do. What we choose to do and how we choose to do it matters. It is my honor to present our winner for the Lake County Rising Essay Contest, Layla Simone Hackes from Waukegan High School. Please join me in welcoming Layla.
Good evening. I'm going to be reading my essay. What does it mean to end violence against women? It is a hard question to ask yourself, as you wonder why is there violence against women in the first place. You see, growing up, I saw many women in my life experience violence, whether that be verbal or physical, but it was always around me. I grew up thinking it was all fun and games, all because we were just playing around. Then it got worse. Then I didn't just see it around me, but around my community, around the world. Every day, 140 women die due to violence against them. That's every 10 minutes a woman or young lady is killed due to the violence against them. Around the world, many women's lives are taken due to the vicious acts of violence. And for what? Women bring life into the world, and yet the ones they are bringing into the world could be the reason why they are no longer here. It starts at home. When a child sees how you treat a woman around or their mother, they will think that is the right way to treat a woman. When you yell, hit, or act in such a violent way towards a woman, they see that, they think that it's okay. At a young age, many are taught things that they carry until they are adults with lives of their own. This could jeopardize the rest of the generations moving forward. It is an ongoing cycle of violence that needs to be broken. For many years, women have fought to be treated equally, and time again,
they were beaten down for it and hurt in so many ways. Nowadays, women can't even walk alone in the daylight, unsure of what might happen or unsure if they will make it home alive. We need to keep our women in our communities safe. If you see something, say something, because at the end of the day, we each have to hold on to each other for support. We cannot be against each other during a time here on earth, especially when so many women are at risk for just leaving the comfort of their homes. This needs to stop. We need to come together as a community for women and show unconditional support for one another, because every woman is at risk of losing their life to violence if we do not end the cycle now. We should be able to walk freely without worry if someone will harm us. We should be able to live the life we were meant to live. It all starts with us. We have to step up for a change. No woman should live in fear or hurt. Do not let someone have more power over you than yourself. Do not be strong, live life with happiness and confidence, break the cycle. Women brought life. They shouldn't have it ripped away from them when they least expect it. Stop the violence against women today, not tomorrow.
Thank you, Layla. We're now going to present you with a certificate for your excellent essay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you again, Layla. Your essay was very beautiful and moving, and congratulations. We will now begin our segment of keynote speakers, but before I welcome our first keynote speaker, let me tell you a little bit about her. Ayana is the Program Manager of Prevention Education at A Safe Place. She is certified as a domestic violence professional. She received her bachelor's and master's in education. She spent 8 years as a music teacher in teaching elementary before shifting her focus to advocacy. Ayana is passionate about education and social change, and uses this to empower communities with the knowledge and tools to prevent domestic violence and build healthy relationships. Her background in teaching has helped her connect with people of all ages, making important topics easier to understand. She's dedicated to creating safer spaces and inspiring positive change through education and awareness. I now welcome Ayana Emson.
Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for listening to my voice for the next 5 or so minutes. So I am going to be starting us off with the cold, hard facts. I like to call these my sad statistics. Globally, about 1 in 3 women, that's 30% worldwide, have been subjected to either physical or sexual intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. That is 1.185 billion women across the world. Globally, as many as 38% of all murders of women are committed by intimate partners. In the United States, 1 out of every 6 women has been the victim of an attempted or completed rape in her lifetime. 1 in 2 trans non-binary people in the United States have experienced some form of intimate partner violence during their lifetime. And trans adults report widespread discrimination and harassment. 1 in 4 say that they have been physically attacked because of their gender identity, gender expression, or sexual orientation. 9 out of 10 rape victims are female. Women ages 18 to 24 are at an elevated risk for sexual assault. Nearly 3 in 10 women in the United States have experienced rape, physical violence, and/or stalking by a partner and reported that it had an impact on their functioning. That is 480,240,000 women in the United States. And then in Illinois specifically, 1 out of every 2 women age 18 plus has reported experiencing violence by their intimate partner. That is 50% of the women in Illinois. 19.1% of women in Illinois have experienced sexual violence. And then from 2022 to 2023, the domestic violence deaths rose by 110% in Illinois. And those are our specific statistics. And these are the most updated ones that I could get. And, you know, you look at it and think, wow, how is this still happening? And then I was thinking, okay, how do I merge everything together and say what I want to say? And yesterday, one of my friends called me about a choir rehearsal she was at and gave me a sadly wonderful story for this event. So my friend was at a choir rehearsal that had a guest conductor. During the 2 hours he was rehearsing them, it was filled with 2 hours of sexist, misogynistic comments towards the women in the group. Like literally like, oh, women, you know, like you're pretty, but you got to try harder in 2025. And she's telling me all this. My jaw is dropped. My jaw is on the floor. Sitting there thinking, why is my mouth so dry? Oh, yeah, because for 55 minutes, I'm sitting there like, what? Like, it's 2025. How is this man allowed to make that many comments to over 104 people, a lot of whom were college-aged women as well, and 2 hours straight? And I'm thinking, how is this allowed to happen? Oh, no, wait, why am I even shocked at all? Look at the numbers I just read. This vibe, this way of living, having it be acceptable to say those words, that's what creates the culture that allows this violence to still happen. The fact that in 2025, an old man thought it was okay to spend 2 hours in front of a huge group making all of those really inappropriate comments, and that's happening, is, you want to say it's mind-blowing, but it really isn't, because when you look at those statistics and you look at how we respond to things as a society, how can we be shocked that this is still happening? What have we actually done to improve it? So I'm wrapping it all back up to my prevention education, because I'm a preventionist, always go that route. Just the importance of teaching people it's not okay to be talked to that way, but it's also not okay to do that. Hold those people accountable, have those conversations and say, hey, that was like wildly inappropriate and you made everybody uncomfortable. That is not okay. And that is my 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayana, for the statistics and giving us an example of one of the many reasons why we still have so much work to do. But moving on to our next keynote speaker, let me tell you a little bit about her. Ashley Cullen Williams is a dedicated and compassionate Black counselor specializing in fostering healthy relationships through affirming conversations. With a focus on holistic health, she brings a wealth of experience in guiding individuals and communities towards emotional well-being and wholeness. Ashley creates a safe space for communities to explore personal growth through acts of self-care. In addition to working as a therapist at Youth and Family Services, Ashley is the founder and CEO of Honey Bee Wells, a company rooted in trauma-informed principles. I now welcome Ashley.
Good evening and thank you. As previously mentioned, my name is Ashley Cullen Williams. I am the owner of Honeybee Wells, where I encourage the community to honor your story, own your feelings, nurture your soul to empower you. I am a mom of 3, a wife, a counselor, but I think most relevant here is I am a fast girl that learned how to be still. I am a Black girl from Waukegan who had to have the lived experience of experiencing violence and witnessing violence against women early, and also had the experience of actually experiencing sexual violence at the early age of 11. So I stand before you fully in the process of healing and understanding what violence means and the impacts. Today, I want to speak to you about a reality that many women know too well: violence. A reality that lurks in homes, workplaces, hospitals, and the streets. A reality that whispers, shouts, and sometimes silences. And yet we must speak, because when we speak, we begin to heal. Women experience violence in many forms. It looks like a partner who raises his hand instead of his voice. It sounds like no being ignored, like stop being laughed at. It feels like walking to your car at night, keys clenched between your fingers, heart racing, praying you make it home safe. It's a young girl trafficked and unseen, a mother trapped in an abusive marriage with no way out, a Black woman dismissed by doctors as she pleads for help. And for Black women in particular, happy Black History Month, this violence carries the weight of history, a history that has told us our pain is tolerable, our cries are ignorable, and our bodies disposable. But I stand here today to say, we are not disposable. We are not invisible. We are worthy of protection, of healing, and of peace. This isn't just a personal issue, it's a public health crisis. Consider these facts. 1 in 3 women globally experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. Black women experience intimate partner violence at higher rates than white women, but are less likely to receive justice or support. 40% of Black women killed by a partner have already reported previous abuse. We cannot ignore this. The numbers tell us this is not rare, it's not isolated, it's happening right here, right now. Let me tell you about a young girl named Isaiah Harris. Say her name. She was only 13, a girl with dreams, a girl who should have been safe, but she wasn't. Despite multiple warnings, despite people speaking out, the system failed her. The world failed her. A man who should have never had access to her took her, and she is no longer here. And now she will never grow up to be a woman, to live out her dreams, or to have a future. Naziah should be here, and her story should never have been written in blood. Her story is a call to all of us, especially those of us raising daughters, mentoring girls, teaching the next generation. We have a duty to check in, to communicate, to protect, because young girls grow up to be women. Women who carry trauma, women who raise children, women who shape the future. If we fail our girls, we fail the world. I speak not just as a woman, not as an advocate, but as a Black woman counselor. Every day I sit with the weight of stories like Naziah's. I hold space for women who have been broken but are still standing. I witness the silent suffering, the unspoken wounds, the burden of generational trauma that too often goes untreated. Being a Black woman in this work is heavy. It's personal because these are not just my clients. These are my sisters, our mothers, my daughter, our best friends, and sometimes these stories mirror my own. We are told to be strong, to carry it all, to push through. But what happens when the weight is too much? When the tears we never shed begin to drown us? Healing is not just for survivors. It's for those who witness, those who hold, and those who absorb their pain. This is why collective healing matters. It is why we need more spaces for Black women to rest, to excel, to exhale, and to be vulnerable without judgment, because we cannot pour from an empty cup. Telling survivors you are not alone is powerful, but they also need concrete action. Access to emergency housing and financial assistance. Many women stay in abusive relationships because they have nowhere to go and they fear financial ruin. The idea of having culturally competent mental health services, because healing is not just a one-size-fits-all. Black women, immigrant women, LGBTQ+ survivors, each group has unique barriers seeking help. We need legal and advocacy support. Restraining orders, child custody battles, and the justice system often fail survivors. So of course we need lawyers, advocates, policymakers pushing for better protections. And lastly, community-based safety networks. Survivors often feel alone because abusers isolate them. Neighbors, churches, workplaces, schools must be a part of the safety net. So instead of asking survivors to leave, let's ask, where will they go? Who will support them? How do they create real safety? Naziah's story is not just about being a violent act. It's about the system that ignored red flags. The system that often blames Black girls instead of protecting them. When Black girls go missing, they don't get Amber Alerts or national media attention. When Black women report violence, they often are not believed or arrested themselves or told to handle it privately. When Black women seek medical care after abuse, they are dismissed or denied pain relief due to racial stereotypes. If we truly want to protect young girls before they become survivors, we must demand accountability from schools, social services, law enforcement, and lawmakers. We talk about healing after violence happens, but what do we do to stop it before it begins? Teach boys and men about consent, respect, and accountability, because stopping violence starts with them. Create safe spaces in schools, churches, and workplaces where survivors can get help without shame. Survivors need more than just survival. They deserve full, joyful lives where they can thrive without constantly looking over their shoulders. The fight against violence cannot be a one-day conversation. It requires daily action, and here's what we can do together. Right now, this is my 4th time speaking. So I've had 2 mental health groups, a Black Girl Affinity group, and an after-school program. And I pride myself on consistent messaging with all of my programs. So when I talk about self-care and I end with this call to action, I want to encourage everyone to go home and rest, but also take a SWOT analysis of self. What are your strengths? In this work, what are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities and what are our threats? We have to do a self-evaluation before we just go ahead and start doing the work. What are you capable of? Right? Because in this, I want to close by saying, desire should be here. Let's make sure that no other girl is lost to the violence we ignored. Violence does not have to be the story we pass down. We can write a new one where women and girls are safe, seen, and celebrated, and one where healing is not possible, but it is inevitable. It requires us to honor our story, own our feelings, nurture our soul to empower the rest of the world. Because as mentioned, the young girl grows up to be a woman. And that woman then has to mentor the next young girl. So I encourage you to check in on a young girl, to ask if they're okay, to donate your time, but most importantly, to speak up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley, for your words and for reminding us that we have to be self-aware and take care of ourselves so that we can be better advocates in our communities. And before I welcome our 3rd keynote speaker, another beautiful Black woman, I would like to tell you a bit about herself. Tierra Lemon is the founding director of the Gun Violence Prevention Initiative in Lake County, Illinois, in the Lake County State's Attorney's Office. After obtaining her Master's of Science in Social Work from Columbia University, she has worked with nonprofits and has skills in community organizing, research, and motivational interviewing. Her work focuses on addressing the root causes of gun violence and has worked boots on the ground as a violence prevention specialist for the University of Chicago. Tierra is a thought leader in the field of gun violence and prevention work, and has been called as a presenter locally, regionally, and across the country. I now present Tierra.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction and bio. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for allowing me to also take space on this stage. Again, my name is Tierra Lemon, and I'll be talking a little bit about how pain turned into passion for me. Throughout my life, I have grown deeply humbled by the opportunity I've been afforded to turn my pain into purpose. Ironically enough, I've been able to do that through the very reason we've all gathered here tonight. Violence is something that myself, like many other women, have been severely impacted by. Sexual violence, domestic violence, and the one in particular that has led me to finding my passion in the world, gun violence. In my experience, violence isn't something that comes knocking on your door all alone. It's known to show up with a group of its friends. And I'm not being politically correct here, but honestly, they show up like a gang looking to jump you in. The friends that they bring are often grief, despair, heartache, and frustration. And let's not even talk about the ones that show up on their own, unannounced, looking for the perfect day to ruin. I know them all too well, not just in my own life, but in the lives of my neighbors, my closest friends, my family. These emotions were never distant concepts. Instead, all things I've felt firsthand. And in many instances, I got to know them a little bit more than I ever wanted to. But who said getting to know them has to only be a negative thing or where the story ends? Violence didn't just shape me, it prepared me. And by the grace of God, it didn't break me, it built me. I stand here today grateful because out of that pain, I gave birth to both my passion and my purpose. And neither of those could have existed without the weight of what I endured. It taught me empathy, it sharpened my understanding, it allowed me to show up in spaces with an open mind and an unshakable voice. It essentially provided me with everything that I needed to sit at tables where I get the honor to voice the voices of the voiceless. But please make no mistake, while I've been transparent about my experiences, what I care most about is ensuring that the pain I've known isn't a reality for those who come after me. That the heartbreak felt by my friends, my family, my community won't be the same heartbreak that you, your loved ones, and our future generations have to carry. Somewhere along the way, I made a choice. I refused to be a product of my environment, and instead I insisted that I became a product for my environment. A tool, a resource, a light, a voice. I knew I wanted to be used to empower, to motivate, to connect, and to heal. Because healing is not about forgetting, it's about transforming. Our scars are not to be hidden, nor should they be a source of shame. They are a testament to our ability to rise. They are, in fact, our superpower. They position us to make the world better, not despite what we've been through, but because of it. Because we've lived it, because we understand it, and because we are the ones most prepared to change it. And with the inspiration and motivation I gain from each of you, that is exactly what I intend to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara, for those wonderful words. And now to present Debbie, who will be giving our closing words.
So, probably about 14 years ago, I received a phone call from someone, Bruce Johnson, who said, I think this is your thing, which is how I got involved with Lake County Rising. And at the time I was thinking to myself, what did I get myself into? And here it is, I've retired and I'm still doing this. So what does that say? It's like, this is so much of a passionate, exciting, eye-opening experience that I had to just come back for more. And so we've had some amazing speakers tonight, and we have had what appears to be the largest group of people come in through the resource fair. So this is just like a opportunity to open your mind and realize, geez, is there something I can do? And I know for me, one of the things that I consistently do is that if some male, which I know this, it sounds crazy, but if some male calls me a girl, that's not going to fly. And I have to correct them and say, I'm a woman, and if you want me to call you a boy, I don't have a problem with that. But there are many men that don't like that idea. So that's something really teeny. So again, think about what it is that you can possibly do to honor what happened with all these wonderful speakers tonight. And so I would just ask all the volunteers for the Lake County Rising to please stand up. Andrea, get up. And if you are thinking to yourself, geez, I really want to be involved with this group, because it is a very thought-provoking, wonderful experience, and it's not limited to just women. There are a few men that have been involved with this as well. And so I encourage you to think about, what can I do to make a difference? Because, you know, we can all speak and listen to about what everyone is doing, but it really takes the whole village to make it happen. And it's not about a one night, 1 hour production. It's a constant thing. So I really appreciate all of you coming tonight. Layla, you were amazing. You said to me you were so nervous, but you were not. You did not come across as being nervous. So thank you, and please don't get caught in the snow. Good night.